It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for me to answer your questions. So let's get some music going. And I think we'll start with the swish and swipe because we've got some questions about that today.
1, 2, 3, 4. Swish and swipe. I'm swishing, I'm swiping, but you won't hear me griping, cause I'm blessing my house today. I really dig it, I get it. It only takes a minute to keep my house looking this way. And you should see me move when I'm getting in the groove with a can-do attitude, or I fly so high when I'm swishing and swiping. No, you won't hear me griping, cause I'm blessing my house today. And that's right. I made it a habit.
Habits are good.
Hard about it. Just 15 minutes a day. I'm cleaning and cleaning. I do my quick routines, and I'll soon be able to play. You should see me smile when I'm sprucing up this time. It only takes a little while and I'm done. It's fun when I'm swishing and swiping. No, you won't hear me griping, cause I'm blessing my house today. Here we go now. Swish and swipe. Round and round I swirl, just once around this turn.
Good job, Elizabeth.
Looking up and I fly so high when I'm swishing and swiping. No, you won't hear me griping, cause I'm blessing my house today. And that's right, I'm blessing my house today.
We're going to bless our minds today with your questions. Get on in here. I know I got here a little bit early. You're not used to me being on time for a change. And I tell you what, it's just a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Just everything is looking springtimey. And that's what we need. Melinda has been playing our videos on YouTube, and she came across the one where we were opening up the laundry bags and they pop. And they pop open, and Michelle just died laughing. And it's one of those funny things. But she's playing our videos on her big screen TV. She's got downloaded the YouTube app, and she is playing our videos. They're just running one right after another. Anyway, folks, we got some questions. Let's get started, because question and answer day usually lasts for about an hour. But Justin's coming up to get our income tax stuff and get us ready to be right with the government. Okay, here. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment without a washer and dryer. I go to the laundromat, or I use the laundry facilities at my complex. I work 40 hours a week, and it's hard to do a load a day. What do you suggest? Well, if you have several washing machines in your laundry complex, then if it's just you and your clothes, sometimes I have gone 3 weeks without doing laundry. Now I might have to do my undies, but hey, I can sometimes wash those in the sink. My granny used to do that. She would wash her undies in her sink, in her bathroom sink, and then she would hang them up to dry in her bathroom, and then by morning they would all be dry, and she would put them away with her little routine, and she would keep those done up, her unmentionables, she called them. But I would sort my clothes as I took them off, and then you know how many loads you got to do. You take in 3 baskets, well, really darks and lights, that's about it. And go down there, and if you got to use 2 wash machines or 3, take a good book or take your phone and watch some YouTube videos while you're there. Stay with it because people have been known to steal things out of. You got to stay with your clothes. If you leave your clothes, they're going to be gone. I was listening to a video the other day, and it was from a young man who, in his 60s, wrote a book. And he said when he was a teenager, he left home at age 14 or 15. And he didn't have a lot. But if you left your clothes out on the clothesline overnight, they were his. And he repented for it. But he didn't have clothes. And if they didn't fit him, he put them in the trash, which is awful. But you do what you can do. You got to adapt it to fit your family and you. And if you can't do a load of laundry every day, you can do something. You can wash up some undies. I like to take a bath, and you could throw those in the bathtub with you and scrub them up. Okay. So pick a day to do your laundry. Maybe it's Thursday evening. Maybe it's Thursday evening. And don't do it on the weekends because that's when everybody else is going to want to do it. You just pick an evening to do your laundry and be safe. Be safe. Maybe you need a friend to go with you, and there'll be 2 of you in the laundry room. Okay. Can we use furniture polish on the cloths for the big mop? No. They're microfiber. Do you want to ruin that? That's the microfiber cloth. Do you want to ruin that? Don't do that. We don't put furniture polish on our rags or our cloths. Now, if you want to put a cloth on your mop and spread something around on your floor, but you got to be aware that furniture polish on your floor is going to make your floors slick. And you don't want to fall. You don't want to make your floors be so slick that it's a danger. Last night, as I was cooking dinner, I got a text from Mr. Charles's sister, Sandy, and Miss Jeanette fell yesterday and broke her wrist, and they were at the ER, and she was asking for prayers. And so I stopped everything and said prayers over her and was praying for her most of the night because I know it can be painful. My sister has broken her wrist, and so don't make your floors slick. It's dangerous. And don't put things in your floor to trip over. Don't do that. One time I went to Mount Airy, North Carolina. I can't believe I can remember the name of the town, and because it's been a long time ago. And this lady who did it wasn't a podcast then. She had a show, and it was her name started with the U, and Urbana or something. And her mother had graduated. Well, she was an Ivy League English teacher. She was. And she had retired, and she was in her late 80s. And I went to her little apartment, and her apartment had been made from an old sewing factory. And if you know anything about sewing factories, there is up in the rafters, lint is everywhere. It's just Robert had to hold court in one time down in Rutherford County, but I'm getting sidetracked. And I was helping her to declutter. If she had gone through the Depression and she saved butter bowls and Cool Whip bowls, But the biggest problem was beside her bed. And when she would get through reading a magazine, she would throw it on the floor. Now, when you step on a magazine, you're going to go psh, and hit the floor. She didn't need to fall and break anything. So I had to tell her she needed to put those magazines in a basket so that she wasn't going to trip over them in the middle of the night. So don't polish your floors. Our mop cloth with just plain water does an amazing job for you. And those fingers, if you clog them up with furniture polish, you're going to ruin it. Just ruin it. So don't do that. Don't do that. How would you secure a blue tarp to your roof during a weather emergency? Well, I couldn't do it until after the weather emergency was over. I'd have to deal with things in the house if half of our roof was gone. I couldn't go outside with stuff blowing around. I couldn't do that. But we have a big spool of paracord that holds 1,000 pounds. And so we would take a rock and wrap some twine around it and throw it over the roof and secure it to the grommets that are on. It might take 2 or 3 people, but Robert and I could do it by ourselves. We could toss the rock over, and that would help us to get things started. And we could pull it over, and then we would tie it to a tree, tie it to our deck, tie it to we could put a stake in the ground if needed. But I think tying it, I'm good with knots. If y'all didn't know that, I'm real good with knots. And we could I just saw a post where her husband uses dusting spray on her rags. That's just awful. Don't do that. Don't be spraying that stuff in your house. It's full of chemicals. Yes, I'm a chemical Nazi. That's just how it is. That stuff makes me. I can't even use spray stuff on my pans. Like Pam, if you're going to use, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't use furniture polish on your mop cloths or at all. But back to the blue tarp. We would secure it to a tree. And we got trees everywhere. So we would anchor it down to a tree or to our deck, and it would be okay. We're not going to nail it down because that wouldn't work. Next question. What's the best way to store Tupperware with lids? The best way to store Tupperware is to use it. I have a pantry full of these great canisters that I use for my dry goods. And Tupperware not in use is it's a mess. But I have a ham keeper that is just made for a big old ham, because sometimes you just want to cook a ham and eat on leftovers for a while. And I've got a ham keeper that I keep in my drawer where I have my flour and sugar and all my baking drawer. It's what I call it. So I keep it at the back, and I keep little bags of sugars and different things there in it. I keep the lid underneath it so that I can put things in it. Underneath that piece of Tupperware is a smaller flat piece that I could put brownies in and different things to take to somebody. And then I have one other piece of Tupperware that is for carrying angeled eggs. It's got little egg trays in it, and it's red, and I just love it. I have those 3 pieces, plus the ones that are in my pantry, and I have a drawer where I have it organized with little Rubbermaid things with lids, and I keep the lids underneath it, but I don't put the lids on it. So the best way to store Tupperware is to use it. Put it in your pantry and use it. Put stuff in it, label it. And then bending over trying to find a lid is a pain. Now, if you need to put all the lids in one Tupperware, I could put, if I had a bunch of Tupperware, I could put all the lids in my ham keeper. But then I'd have to hunt for a lid. So I like to keep the lids underneath the item, and then I can sandwich items inside it or stack them like little Russian dolls. Okay. It printed on the back, y'all. I hadn't figured it out yet. I am a new fly baby. Should we thoroughly be cleaning our master bathroom as if it's like spring cleaning time? No, we don't spring clean, y'all. We do a mission every day to keep our bathroom looking clean. Now, you can wipe things down and you can declutter some stuff a little bit. We give you a mission every day when we're in the bathroom, and we do swish and swipe every day in our bathroom. But if you want to take some time and just do a little extra, you don't have to spring clean, because after 3 months of doing our bathroom missions, your bathroom is always going to look spring clean ready. Can you explain the difference between your apps? The Fly Lady Messenger app is my app. It's the one Michael built. It has our reminders in it, which are powerful. You get a little reminder that triggers you to do something all during the day. It is a paid app. You have to sign up for it and follow all the directions to get it. The Fly Lady Plus app is my nephew Alexander's app, and he built it with some friends of his, and it is it's free. It gives you a morning musing, an Ask Fly Lady question, and it's got the zones in it and some different things. So that's how it goes. Just pick one and try it. Try Alex's first. If you like it, then stay with it. If you don't, then go get our app. I made the app because people didn't want to get all the emails, which makes me, not happy, because our emails are the behavior modification system that you need. How can I handle my paper clutter? Truthfully, it's been built up since September. I'm overwhelmed looking at my dining room table. Well, first off, go into your dining room table and get 3 boxes. 3 boxes. Your dining room table has become your desk. And I want you to get 3 boxes and label them left, right, and center. And I want you to take the stuff that's in the center and put it in the box. Stuff that's on the left and put it in the box. And the stuff that's on the right and put it in the box. And then I want you to start grabbing this much. I want you to make your table pretty. Put a tablecloth on it. Do whatever you got to do. But don't be putting no more papers on there. You hear me? No more papers on your dining room table. And, do you come in and just dump your mail right there on the dining room table? What do you do? So we've got to sort through this paper. Now, you need a trash can handy, or a burn bag, or whatever you're going to do. And you're going to go through 6 inches at a time. And you're going to take those 6 inches, and you're going to have another box that says that it's, and I think you should stand up and do this so you don't get bogged down. Just stand at your island in your kitchen and go through this 6 inches. Those three left, right, center are over underneath the table if you have to put them in underneath the table. And just grab 6 inches and sort through it. Open up the mail. The trash needs to go into a trash bag. I keep a paper sack that I my burn stuff that I put in my fireplace and I burn for kindling goes there, or Robert takes it out to the fire pit. Because we're all a little fearful of somebody getting our identity. Open up the mail. You could have money in this mail. Like, think of it as a treasure hunt. Open the mail. Hold up, everybody. Okay, we're back live. Something was going on. I don't know what was going on. But sort through it, because you could have important tax papers in there, important, just important papers. You could have tags for your car. You just don't know what's in there. Sort through it, throw the chaff away, have your office in a bag or a folder to put the things you need to keep in. Don't deal with them right then. Just put them in the folder and sort through 6 inches. If you do 6 inches a day, by the end of the week, maybe by the first of next week, you could have it all sorted through. But don't allow your perfectionism. See, the reason it got put on your table in the first place is because you said to yourself when you brought the mail in, I don't have time to deal with this. It's your fault. Now, what you've got to do to keep it from piling up again, since September, I'm surprised your lights hadn't been turned off, and all cell phone bill, all this stuff has to be processed the minute it comes into your house. We have one lady that keeps a shredder in her garage. She has a really good shredder, and she goes through the mail sitting in her car because she's gotten it out of the mailbox in her car. So she sorts through it, and it has to earn the right to come into her house. And she puts it in the shredder, and it's done with. She opens up the things that she needs to open up, and she takes them in the house and puts them where they belong. And use an office in a bag to be able to pay all your bills. Yeah, you can do this. So deal with your paper cut. You've used your dining table as a desk. So stop it. Start having dinner. How else are your kids going to ever learn manners if you don't sit down at the table with them instead of tossing burgers to them? Be consistent. Don't stop until you get the mail sorted. Right now, don't start piling it again. Oh, Susie's reminding me of the Ohio method. Only handle it once. Put a big sign up on your refrigerator. Ohio. They think you're rooting for the Buckeyes. Just only handle it once. It works. My mother-in-law is a hoarder. We do live in her basement. We keep it clean. My kids always want to go upstairs, but I refuse to let them because it's a dirty hoarder mess. What should I do or say without being mean? I don't know who you're thinking about being mean to. One day you're going to have to clean it all out. And your mother-in-law was probably raised or went through the Great Depression, and she has held on to everything because she might need it one day. She's living with an oh, poor me attitude. And when you hold on to stuff because you might need it one day, God's not going to send you things. But when you let it go, God gives you what you need. So don't be mean. I can't believe you don't associate with your mother-in-law or you don't go upstairs to take care of her. That's just sad. Offer to help her. Offer to clean the kitchen. Offer to do something. She's giving you a place to live, and just help her. Now, she might not want the help. I know I have a friend who heard her neighbor screaming for help, and she's a hoarder, and now she's in a nursing home. She fell, broke her hip, and she's in a nursing home, and family has sold the house, and they have just, the lady's going to die because her life was her stuff. Don't be that. Don't be mean though. People have a problem, and pray for her. Pray for her and offer to help. Pray for her. Because hoarding is a sickness. Sickness of want, of, just rebuke the devil that says you have to have all of these things. Just rebuke it. Because that clutter that she has upstairs, people die in that clutter. But thank goodness you're in the basement, but you got to check on her sometime. Yeah, kids do need their grandmas. Maybe she'll let you get one room clean. I've been in a hoarder's house before, and it was a major fire hazard. And you know how she was heating her house? With her oven. She was heating her house with her oven. Um, I was a county commissioner at the time, and she was having problems with the DOT. And one of the other commissioners and I went to her house, and we walked upstairs, and it was piled floor to ceiling with newspapers. I mean, it was just a fire waiting to happen. Floor to ceiling with newspapers. And the other commissioner looked at me. He was an engineer, and he said, Marla, we got to get out of here. You hear that creaking? The joists are getting ready to break loose. And we helped her get water back to her house because she had spring water, and the freeze and thaw had hurt the pipes. And I knew all about spring water and capturing spring water, and I helped her get water back to her house. But it was bad. So pray with her. Pray with her. Pray with your mother-in-law. Thank her for giving you a place to live. Maybe you only do a little bit beside her chair and a little bit on the other side of her chair, and just start working out from there. I mean, we all got to pray for this mother-in-law. It breaks my heart. I'm new here. Should I swish and swipe daily in all 3 bathrooms? Do you have specific tools for this? Swish and swipe is a daily thing. And here's how you do it. You drink your water. And every time you have to go pee, yes, I'm talking potty mouth. Every time you have to go pee, you go to a different bathroom. It takes you 30 seconds, less than a minute, to swish and swipe a bathroom. So do it. Go to a different bathroom, especially if people are using that bathroom. And if they're not using that bathroom, you need to run water in the sink and flush the toilet in every bathroom every day. Because you will, if the water evaporates from the U-trap under your sink, or J-trap, or whatever it is, if that water evaporates, you will get smell. You'll get this weird, nasty smell coming from the sewer system or from your septic tank. So go to every bathroom every day and flush the toilet and run some water in the sink and in the bathtub too. Just a little bit. It doesn't need to be much. But you don't want that water evaporating. And just wipe things down and teach your children how to do it. I have a ton of coffee mugs. Guilty. How do you know what to get rid of. And what do we do with them? Toss them in the trash? No, I wouldn't toss coffee mugs in the trash. I have a favorite coffee mug that I bought for a dime at a Habitat for Humanity store, almost 30 years ago. And I love my coffee mugs. I've got one of my favorite mugs today is Robert made me coffee in my little bird mug. But I have my favorite mugs. I have my spiritual mugs. I have my saints mugs. I have all kinds of mugs. And I have just enough room on my shelf in my kitchen cabinet. And if I get a new mug, I have to get rid of an old mug. So if you're going to go through your mugs, pick out your 5 favorite. 5. And think about moving. This helps me a lot. Think about moving into a tiny house or a mother-in-law suite or, just think about downsizing. And you could only take 5 mugs with you. Which 5 would it be? So sort through your mugs. Which are your 5 favorite? Just pluck them out and then get a box and start putting the ones that you don't love as much in that box. And then set them aside for about a week. And if you miss a mug, get it out. Now you might want to decide on a number to keep. If you've got 20 or 30 mugs, maybe you want to keep a third of them, 10 of them. And just keep 10 mugs and then go through that box again and make sure there's not one you don't want to get rid of. I have donated stuff before, and when I donated, I regretted it because it was my great grandmother Wheeler's butterbean bowl that my granny had. And I went and bought it back. So don't toss them in the trash. Donate them to some place that needs a cup, and maybe somebody will get that cup. Somebody at the door? No. Somebody will get that cup and it will be exactly what they need. So bless someone else with your abundance and you'll be better off for it. Can you do a pamper show again? The last one was so fun and relaxing. Here's the problem with me doing a pamper show. My sweet darling's home every night. He doesn't go anywhere at night. And we have our little routines where we watch our favorite shows and we do things together. And I don't like to take time from him. Somebody find that link to the last pamper show that I did, and maybe we could rerun that occasionally. He's just, for the past 2 years, he doesn't go anywhere at night. We don't go anywhere. We pretty much stay home. But you could rerun the one that we did. I don't know when we did that one. Liz can find it. I know she can. Liz can find anything. And back to the coffee mugs. Maybe you got a friend that has a coffee shop and they don't, maybe they need some inspirational mugs. You could donate them there. I used to have, Robert and I met at a coffee shop and they had a supply of mugs there that people could use. So I don't know when I'm going to do another pamper show because it's really hard with Robert home. But maybe I could put something together during the day and then run it at night. That could be fun. I'm not going to say never. I work full time. When I get home at 6 p.m. Should I still be doing zones, daily focus, 15 minutes of decluttering? I've tried and it took me hours. This is why weekends are always for cleaning. Any tips? Here's the deal. You get home at 6 p.m., you're exhausted. I don't know what you do for work. I don't have a clue, but when you get home, you got to start taking care of you. You got to be good to you. My recommendation would be to do one of the weekly home blessing. Say one morning, I'm saying morning, you mop. Takes 2 minutes. Mop. The next morning, we have in our control journal section of our website, we have a poster that I made that has a daily weekly home blessing item to do. Sunday sheets, Monday mop, Tuesday trash, all these things. Adapt it to fit your schedule. Do it in the morning when you're fresh. Don't be, now in the evening after you get through having dinner and stuff, you could declutter for 5 minutes. But don't go overboard. I don't want you crashing and burning. Do you hear me? I don't want you to crash and burn. And when you're coming home, you need to take care of you and your family, not spend all this time. Now, clean up after yourself when you're in the kitchen. Don't let that pile up. But do the missions. They're 5 minutes worth. You don't have to do a whole lot to do those. You can do them in the morning because you get them the night before. You get them the night before. So, and I don't want you cleaning on the weekends or doing marathon laundry runs or anything like that. I have a routine to my laundry, and I put laundry in the wash machine the other night, and I can't do laundry in the morning because if I put a load of laundry in when Robert's in the shower, I'm going to scald his little butt. I don't want to do that because we're on country water, and when water runs someplace else in the house, he gets scalded. So I don't get near water. So in the evening, I put a load of laundry in the wash machine. And in the morning, I take that load of laundry and put it in the dryer. And then I fold it. And I kind of do my morning devotional in the basement. While Robert's in the shower, I'm folding laundry and getting things done. And it works. It works. My laundry's done. It's all put away. Anyway, so that's how I get it done. So don't get all caught up in having to do everything. You got to adapt it to fit your schedule. And morning is a good time to get things done. If you get up 15 minutes before the flow of the family, you can do uh, a 2-minute mission in your home. You can feather dust for 2 minutes. You can have some fun. Okay. Next question. What items should we have in an emergency bag? Well, we have a section. Liz, find this link on our website. It's called Fly Ladies 11 P's for Preparedness. That's a mouthful. But it's I think it's in our Getting Started section. And here's the thing. You need a copy of this in your control journal because you never know when you're going to have to get ready to be evacuated. All these people in the Ukraine, they knew those Russian tanks were sitting off the border for weeks, months. They've been sitting there, intimidating them. They should have had their go bags ready. They should have found a suitcase, got things packed up where they could roll it if they were going to walk. You got to have your go bag ready. So think about, have a plan. I'm going to read this. Number 1 is people. Have a plan for getting out of the house and make sure everyone knows it. Have an emergency bag of food and water for your family, including wholesome snacks, treats, dried fruit, nuts, peanut butter, crackers, and granola bars. Number 2, pets. Keep your pet carriers and leashes readily available to lead pets to safety. Also, take pet food with you. Now, I have had our house caught on fire several years ago. It was right after Robert retired, and we got hit by lightning, and it caught our house on fire. And we were able, Michelle and I and Robert got the fire. His focus was the fire. He got the fire out, but it was Michelle and I who got the dogs and the cats out. And we trained our cats at the time, to come to the shaking of a treat can, just a plastic bottle. And we put the hard treats in there, and it's just like a rattle, and they come running. Or we did when we had 2 cats, and Samantha knows the drill too. And that's how I got the cats out of the house. They were out on the back deck, and they would have run off in the woods, and we would have had to try to find them. But if you've got to take your dog to the vet, sometimes people have to put them in a carrier. I know when Tulip was little, she didn't like riding in the car, and we had to put her in a carrier with a towel in there. She's too heavy to carry in a carrier right now. But we got a cat carrier and we got a dog carrier. And those things can go in the truck. Number 3, pictures. All of us have pictures, photo albums. We all have these pictures from long ago. And or we have CDs of these pictures. Keep those in a safe place. Now we have the cloud. All my pictures are on the cloud, and I could get to them if I had to. But what if we don't have the cloud? I've got them. I've got a bunch of pictures on my iPod, and I have a bunch of pictures on my phone. And you can also take pictures of those photo album pages, just so you have backup. Because you could have to walk a long way, and those photo albums get heavy. And in the long scheme of things, they're not that important. Your safety and your children's safety is the most important thing. Papers. Have all your important papers in a lockbox at the bank, or only keep copies at the house. And we have, I don't have a red one here. I need an extra red one. But we have a red office in a bag that you can keep your important papers in. And then you just grab and go with this thing. This is what this handle is for. It's to grab and go. And you can keep your important papers and phone numbers, all the things you might need in there, in your emergency control journal. Prescriptions. Take your medications with you. Don't forget the ones that are refrigerated, like insulin. You might need a small ice pack, cold packs, or whatever. This is a checklist for you to put together your go bag. So always have a few prescriptions. You might not be able to get prescriptions if something bad goes down. So try to get healthy, and so you don't need your blood pressure medicine. Purses and petrol. This is where you keep your identification, your credit cards, and your cash. Well, if you're being evacuated, you may have to keep like my sister Susan. She was in Israel one time, and they started bombing Israel from the Golan Heights. And a bomb went off not far from her. And I said, put your passport in your bra. Put your passport on you. And put what money you have and your identification on you. Passport was the main thing, so she could get back out of the country. And have it on you so you're not going to lose it. Keep your car filled with gas. If you need to get somewhere, map out a route that keeps you off the interstates, because the interstates are the first place to clog up. But map out a route that takes you away from the interstates on back roads. And you can do this. And you don't have to have a phone to do it. You can get a county map, you can get a state map. Buy a map of your state and know how to get around. I keep an atlas in my car. I bought my nephew an atlas, a U.S. atlas, so that, and I think it was North American atlas. It went up into Canada and different things. And that way, if things go bad, your GPS on your phone's not going to work. How are you going to get where you're going? So keep an atlas handy in your car so that, and Justin has talked to Ethan. Ethan is at college in Knoxville, Tennessee. I love Knoxville. It's a safe place. I like the little town. I spent 3 months there with my nephew Ben. And you can get out of town without being on the interstate. You can go south from the college and head over the mountain, and practically it would be hard in the wintertime, but he could do it because he's a young man. He's a young man. He could go south to Patty's house. She's in Chattanooga, and he's got a map, and he could get to where he had family. But we've talked to him about it. We've let him know you don't get on the interstate when there's an emergency. You stay off the interstates. Even though they want you on them. But if you've ever watched The Walking Dead, what do they have? Interstates backed up with cars and nobody going anywhere. Yep. Proper clothes and comfort items. According to weather conditions, gather up the clothes along with outer clothing, coats, raincoats, boots, gloves, hats. If you have babies, remember diapers. Remember to grab your children's favorite blanket, stuffed animal, or toy. A game or a deck of cards could keep them occupied and calm. Number 8, planner, calendar, control journal. These documents have information that you will need with phone numbers and insurance numbers. If you've built your control journal is going to help you. Personal protection. Many of us still have that time of the month. Be sure to grab a box of your preferred protection. It may be hard to find if you have been evacuated. Stress can cause our bodies to do strange things too. Be prepared and take some medication for the cramps, because you don't want to get cramped up and not be able to keep going. But our adrenaline will help us to do a lot of things. Number 10, phones and radios. Many of us have cell phones. Well, we all have cell phones. Always keep them charged up and have a charger in your car or an extra battery block. I have a thing that'll boost my car off, but it'll also charge my phones. And they're about $100 on Amazon, and they're great to have. Let's see but if last night we had bad storms. We got 3 inches of rain yesterday. We've got some flooding going on. Thankfully, we live up on top of a mountain, and the flood's not going to get us, but it could take out our bridge. But we have a back way out. We're prepared. We're just going to stay home. And we also have a battery-powered radio. We have a radio that's crank-powered too, in case we run out of batteries. And it has an emergency band. It has a weather band on it. And we could hear what's going on because our phones might not work. And the number 11, this one's the most important one. Patience. Be calm and be patient. Don't be desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. Desperate people do desperate things. So be patient, be kind. And when you're calm, your children will be calm. And that's, that's what our emergency bag is all about. I also have a bag that I take with me when I travel that has emergency medical stuff in it. Bandages. I have a bag for bad colds. I have a bag for stomach bug because I've been on the road and got food poison, and it is not fun. It is not fun at all. Somebody's asking about emergency food. I would get some some emergency food that all you do is add water to it. That's freeze dried. That's some good stuff. They've got some of that Patriot Supply. There's a bunch of that on Amazon. Um, Brighteon.com. They usually have some of these buckets, and they're pretty light. And you could have like oh. Uh, enough food for a week. You can get 72-hour packs, that sort of thing. So get some freeze dried stuff. So there we have it, folks. I knew it would take an hour. It always does. Anyway, download this emergency preparedness stuff. Now, if you're stuck at home, you got to know how to cook and do all these things. You're safer at home if you can stay home. That's the way I feel. I don't want to be out dependent upon the kindness of others because I know we have everything we need right here. And go listen to Patera at Appalachian Homestead. She's smart. She is so smart, and she's just as bossy as I am. Most of the time I comment and I said, "Tell them, sister." That's how I comment on her stuff. Just tell them, sister. Because people are walking around in a daze, y'all. They're just in a daze. And if I wrote this preparedness stuff 20 years ago. There's always going to be something. Always going to be a hurricane, a flood, an explosion, you name it. There's going to be something that you're going to have to be prepared to be without ice storm, be without power. You got to be prepared. And you can't be prepared if you think it's never going to happen to you. You're never going to be prepared if you think it's never going to happen. So get your act together and get it done. Get it done. You can do it. And you'll feel better when you do. You'll feel relieved that you've got a plan. It's all about having a plan. You might not have to do it. It's just like us planning with Ethan. If something goes down, we want Ethan home. And we've planned on how to get him home. And we've talked to him. And he's a resourceful Eagle Scout. One of my neighbors came to the door the other day and they were selling something for scouting. And he's a young kid, 10 years old, and he's doing his first sales pitch and his daddy's with him. And I looked at him and I said, I have an Eagle Scout. We have an Eagle Scout in our family. My grandson, Ethan, became an Eagle Scout last year. He said, I want to be an Eagle Scout. Something to reach for. So, folks, encourage your children to know what's going on around them. Encourage them to be able to build a fire if they need to and know how to do it without setting the world on fire, We can do this. We had tornado warnings in our area last night, and we were staying pretty tight, close to what was going on with the weather on our phones, on the TV. TV wasn't even announcing it yet. I got a message from Justin, Mom, heads up, got some bad weather coming at you. And we kept watching it, and then it just went away. I did some praying too that it wouldn't miss us. You know, being prepared is not lack of faith in God. Being prepared is doing what God has taught us to do. He taught Joseph to be prepared, to save up so that the Egyptians had fertile ground and they grew lots of wheat and everything they needed, and they would store up their abundance for 7 years. They stored things up, and then they had 7 years of famine. But they had grain stored up, and they had stored it up just like they had been told to do. Joseph told them. He was over it all, storing up. He was doing it to protect his family and people in the surrounding areas, because they could come to them to get the grain they needed to sustain their life. So, folks, be prepared. It's not lack of faith. It's doing what God said. Be ready. Desperate people do desperate things. When you're desperate to feed your family, there's no telling what you're going to do. But Tara talked about it last night. You got to be ready. So let's do this. I don't do private messages during the show, y'all. I can't do that. So, folks, get something. Even if you're buying rice and beans at the grocery store, an extra bag or two, that's dried food. You can do it. It takes 20 minutes to cook some rice. You could sustain yourself on some rice. Anyway, y'all be good, kind, and sweet. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Father in heaven, please be with all my fly babies all over the world. Help them to be prepared for whatever comes their way, because when they're prepared, they're calm, collected, their children are happy, and they can get things done without being stressed out. Lord, be with the Russian families, the Ukrainian families, the families that have gone to Poland without their husbands and fathers. Please be with these families. Bring them back together soon, Lord. Help them to survive this horrible, horrible war. Father in heaven, please keep us safe. Teach us to be prepared through your word, Lord. Through your word. Forgive us of our sins, Lord. Thank you for sending your Son to do that for us with his blood. Help us to be ready for whatever gets thrown our direction, because we don't have to stress out, because we have you, Lord. We have you in our hearts, and we know we're going to be okay. All these things we ask in your Son's holy name. The name of Jesus holds so much power. Devils flee at the name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for everything. We lift you up and praise you, oh God. In Jesus' name, amen. You know, when you're praising God, the devil can't come in. Anyway, I love you all. I will see you 3 o'clock this afternoon. Be good, kind, and sweet. Good to yourself by being prepared. Kind to others by being ready to help your neighbor. And let the joy and the sweetness that is in your heart show the whole world who you are. You are a child of the Most High God. So let's get that emergency control journal put together. Let's put everything we need, just simple things, maybe a little teddy bear, maybe a blankie. It might not be the favorite one, but it'll do in a pinch. And get it ready to go. Get things ready to do what you need to do. I love you all, and I will see you at 3. Why not today? Yep, why not today?